we were, we were talking about some of the additional APIs, and the last thing which we did was, just a second, the constructor reference. So I had already sent you the project done so far. And what I will suggest is, if you want, it is like I said, it's not compulsory. You can continue from this point onwards. So are there any specific queries? Are there any specific questions, doubts so far? If yes, tell me. I can solve them, and then I'll take you ahead to the advanced part, or to the later part. Forget advanced part, to the next part. Yes. Ask fast, Kunal. Or if it is too much of this, I'll take it in the lab. You can ask me. Let me see if it is going to take a lot of time or not. Tell me what to open, and you can unmute yourself so that it will happen fast.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me, Kunal.
Ma'am, can I talk in Marathi?
Yes. But there is a crowd who doesn't understand Marathi, I guess. Hindi would be better.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, अपडेट मेथड में 3 एक्सेप्शन ये हो रहे हैं ना, 3
Right.
एक्सेप्शन.
एक सेकंड
तो फिर कब वो
एक सेकंड
अपडेट
पहले मैं
करेगा मैम?
खोलती हूँ. हाँ बोलो. यस
मैम, वो यूनिक नहीं होगा तभी भी एक्सेप्शन दे रहा है, नल आईडी भेजेंगे तभी भी एक्सेप्शन दे रहा है, और सेकंड वाला भी एक्सेप्शन दे रहा है. तो वो अपडेट कब करेगा, मुझे वो समझा नहीं.
अरे वो of course we did this. Come on, this one. Who is it? Kunal. We did this ना, वो किया ना हमने. एक सेकंड. यहाँ पे मैंने test session API. The last one was, I guess, update. I'm not sure because so many things we did. Not this. Okay, the same. Yes, I guess. Yeah. So यहाँ पे किया ना. So Kunal, I think you are little what do you say, not gone through the whole code. So यहाँ पे update किया था और update चला भी था. So in short, to answer that, if you pass, understand me correctly, if you pass a POJO, which we had passed, user POJO, having not null ID and which has the corresponding record in the database, at that time, update will work. Is the answer to your question. Think it over, and if you are still not clear, ask me again in the lab, because I have already shown you the demo. Dekh lo, wo bheja at day 11.1. It has all the answers. Okay, so try it out. Play with the code, and you will see this is a perfectly working one. The last one which you have is containing the update method, and it did not throw us any exception. So all other cases are the wrong ones. Okay, that way. So any further questions? Let's continue. Anyway, we have the whole lab session for your Q&A and all that. So now what I want to take you to is all the objectives I'm not going to solve here. Some of the objectives I'm going to just discuss, and then I'll give you that as I'll explain, of course, here, and that will be your lab homework or lab work basically. So read the requirement carefully. The next one. Apply discount to registration amount for all the users registered before a specific date. Okay, so I have this requirement. So tell me, with the knowledge, don't answer me this. This is the solution. So I'm not accepting this. This I have given you. I mean, I'm giving you later. So tell me, with the current knowledge, what will you do? I've given the input as a discount amount and registration date. You will start with your select. So give me JPQL select fast. I'll tell you the problem, and then you can give me, then I'll tell you the better solution, which is nothing but a bulk updation. Are you understanding me or not? If you're lost, tell me so that I can write. I think you're typing. So what is the normal solution, which you already know from earlier one, is string JPQL. Are you typing the JPQL at all, guys? I hope you are doing that. Select u from user u, where registered before. So u dot origin date is less than : date. I was expecting the answer. Select you from user you, where, yes, exactly. You this. So after that, what would be the thing? I am surprised that I got only one answer. What are others doing? I was expecting this as a quick answer. So you have a select query. And how do you get this? You know, you have a list of users. Let's say users. And what it will be? Session dot create query. What will be the first argument? JPQL user dot class. Then you have a set parameter, correct? And which parameter name? Date. And suppose user has given date as D1. And then you will say get result list. Guys, this you have done it yesterday. So I expected the answer. I just got it from one or two guys, which is disappointing. So respond faster. Are you at least clear with this now? Rest of you, 220 of you I'm talking to. Okay. So now, what does this get result list method return? List of persistent entities or list of whatever, transient or detached? Of course, persistent. And now can I modify the state of the this thing? Exactly same thing, bulk discount I'm saying. So here, can I do that? Of course, yes. So what is it? Users dot for each. Something similar we wrote yesterday. I don't remember exactly what. And here you can say u dot set reg amount. Whatever, I mean, you can this u dot get reg amount. I remember I showed you for detached versus persistent minus whatever discount. Okay. User is going to give you the discount. So tell me guys, here, are you updating the state of, are you modifying the state of, yes, Prashant, persistent entities or detached entities? Persistent entities. So if you follow this code by commit, tell me. Oh, so don't answer me in a hurry. Answer me correctly. Let me ask you, because otherwise, you know, sometimes you misunderstand me and you take off somewhere. You feel lost. Answer the question. If only this line is executed, will there be any queries fired on the database? Quick question, quick answer. We got really lot to cover. How come I'm getting mixed answers? Correct answer is yes. Here, after, okay, if you are not sure, place a breakpoint on this line. 100% a query will be fired. Which query will be fired? Come on. Of course, a select query. Select query is not going to wait till you are commit. You're completely off track if you're thinking on that. I thought so good I talked about it. Select query will be fired the moment you say either session.get or session.create query. So 100% write it. So of course a select query immediately will be fired. But now tell me, after this line is executed, will there be any query fired? Are you understanding your confusion and whatever? No query will be fired. Are you getting me? Because here we have not yet committed. So no query. Am I 100%? Guys, see this way. Everything I simply cannot take because hybrid is such a huge topic. And we have Spring also to start sometime, right? So the point is I'm giving you all the inputs. Try them at least. So some responsibility is of course yours. So 100% no query. But at this point, tell me, will there be any query fired or no queries fired? Yes, don't just say yes or no, please. Give me, yeah, better answer. Update query will be fired. Now I have a question. Suppose in my database, there were 10 users, okay? 10 users who had registered before this date. So how many update queries will be fired? 1 update query or 10 update query? Answer is 10 update queries. Okay, so n, I'm saying n number of update queries will be fired as a result of what? Automatic dirty checking. Everyone with me? 100% with me? Because you know I'm going to say something more. So now see this. If this was a JDBC scenario, I wouldn't have done this at all. Okay, see the problem. There is one, where is that? there's one select query followed by n number of update queries. So select plus n update is, oh, sorry, my mistake. So where are we? Yeah, so this will lead you to select one select query thanks to that create query. I mean, get result is, and n number of update queries. So tell me, select plus n update is better or a single bulk update, which will directly update all the all the amounts is better? Of course, bulk update is better. You got me? And that is what I'm showing you. I'm discussing this because this is what you have done in JDBC. So I'm not wasting time. I will not say invest time, but you are definitely going to get this assignment as a lab work in today's lab session. So what is it called? Bulk update. Bulk update means what? In single update query, you can update the multiple records. So here, one solution is, already I have explained with this yesterday's thing, select plus an update n number of update queries, right? Or can I have the JPQL itself having an update query? Answer is very much yes. So what is it I have shown you so far? JPQL with select. Now I'm showing you JPQL with update, soon JPQL with delete. Getting me? Directly DML. So the syntax is same as your SQL, except the fact that the table name replaced by this thing, Pojo class name, and the properties, I'm so sorry, column names replaced by Pojo property names. So start. Update. What is here? Is it a Pojo or a Pojo class or this table? Of course, a Pojo class. What is it here? Pojo alias. Set keyword is the same. You know, your normal update query. And here you are saying u.registration amount is equal to, tell me what it is. Nothing but your named in parameter. So this is where you are setting that in parameter. Discount, whatever user gives you. Where clause you know very well. Where your registration date is less than this. Understood the update JPQL completely? All I had shown you earlier was a select. Now I'm just shifting it to update. But let me tell you ahead of time. This you will hardly require. Because I mean, of course, I would say hardly because I don't know your project requirements. But if you require bulk updates, go for that. There are certain limitations of that. For example, it doesn't support cascading. It doesn't support your locking, etc. But if you have a standalone table like we are going to enter the relationships after this. So our user table is standalone. And on a standalone table, which is not cascaded, which is not joined with some child table or something, you can definitely go through that. I mean, you can definitely apply this. So coming back to the point, your JPQL is done. So once you do the JPQL, I'll give you here in writing, you have to try this out. So now imagine you are in the DAO layer. So you have this thing, what is it called? You have to call, I'm not writing the LHS, we will write the LHS in a minute. So start with this session.create query. So what will be the first argument? JPQL, which is already explained. What will be the second argument here? Anyone wants to tell me? The second argument, please. Think and answer quickly. Okay, what is the second argument of create query? Result type. In update query, is it going to return you any results, such as result set or anything? Any DML, will it return you any result? Absolutely not. So guys, this is a mistake. Mistake means you don't use this method. You check your Hibernate session API, there is an overloaded method with just JPQL. So keep it simple, light and clear. If it is a select query, how many arguments will you pass to create query? 1 or 2? 2 arguments. JPQL and the result, which could be string.class, object-array class, pojo.class, whatever. But if it is update or delete as in DML, how many arguments will you pass to this create query? Which method you use? Single argument one. Pretty clear? Now the next one. What is the next thing? Same. You have to do the set parameter business, which I'm not writing because then it is as if then I would have solved it in Eclipse. So how many times you'll have to call set parameter for this particular query? 0, 1, 2, 3. 2 times. Everyone knows that. So you will be, what is the parameter name here? Disk. And what is the parameter name here? DT. And you set it. So set parameter, call it 2 times. Getting me? Now, which was the, okay, sorry. What are the query execution methods you know? All you know is 2 methods, get result list and get single result. Will you call get result list, get single result for the update query? 100% no. Those are for getting the results set, getting the results. So this is a new one. When I say new one, it's hardly a new one. This I've given you one single argument query. Do you remember? We had the same method in JDBC, statement, prepared statement API. Same method, thankfully. So after calling the set parameter, what is it you are going to call? Execute update, get single result or get result list. Of course, you are going to call execute update. And as usual, what does the execute update return? Same answer as JDBC. Yes, please. Update count, number of rows count. That is why I had not written it earlier. So here, int update count. So now answer. This is an or alternative. Those who want to practice can try both and can spot the differences and can tell me in the lab. So tell me, if you do this way, followed by, of course, don't forget comment. Anyone wants to tell me how many queries will be fired? Suppose there are 10 users who have registered before the date. Select plus 10 updates or a single update query. Answer is that single update query, which is called as bulk updation. So I'll stay quiet for a minute. Go through it. I am not writing the code. Like I said, something I have to keep for you so that you will try things. Everything is mentioning in the sequence. I'll be sending you the updated sequence in Google Drive. So tell me, clear or not? Are you clear with the discussion we had? Everyone? Not just 2 of you or 10 of you or 11 of you. I got yes from 11, so I'm counting. Anyway, so the point is you are going to try it out. And like I said, you can always check select plus n update versus single update. But I'm telling you, be cautious. Today it is fine. Today it is a standalone table so far, so no issues. But when I talk about relationships, one author publishing multiple books, one department having multiple employees, etc. Multiple employees working in multiple projects, etc. Many to many, one to many, etc. Then we'll be a little bit cautious. Okay, so this was your lab requirement. I'll mention it in the assignments. Now the last part of CRUD. What all we have done? Create, as an insertion of a record. I showed you all the API. Save or update, persist, and merge. Which one is recommended for insertion? Best recommendation. Which one will you use typically? Persist. And already you know the reason. I have shown you the retrieval. If it is a finder by primary key, means user gives me user ID. Which method will you use for retrieval, for data retrieval? Get. If it is non-primary key criteria, such as registration amount, registration date, whatever, what is it you'll have to use? JPQL. And you'll have to pass the create query. Yes, you are right. So when you say select query, how many argumented create query will you use? One argument or single argument? 2 arguments. What will be the first argument? Select JPQL. And the second argument would be the result class. Don't say ever Pojo class because result type, yes. But because if you just lift one column, like I said, name or something, resulting class. So that R or T or whatever it is. And then we talked about update. So I showed you both updates. If it is a single record, you want to update, then you go the earlier way. Which earlier way? You get that as a from the select query and in a persistent cache, L1 cache, and then just change the state. Yesterday I showed you change password and all that. But if it is multiple bulk updation, so then why waste one select plus 10 different updates? So just recently we discussed your bulk updation query. Are we good so far? Are we clear so far? We are still into CRUD. We have yet to rise to the next level. Okay, so the last one is delete naturally. So I'm going to show you both ways. So something I'll show, something like you will do in the lab. So look at the requirement. The requirement, it is all requirement based, objective based. Unsubscribe user. So suppose user gives me user ID. And what I want to do is, I want to remove the user details from the database. Is the requirement clear? Everyone is clear with it? So what is it we are using is, okay, let me ask you, how many records you expect to be deleted? Bulk or single? I mean, single record or multiple? Single one. So in that case, I will not recommend the bulk API. I mean, delete query. So we will have select query. I'm so sorry. It is a user ID, guys. So for user ID, how will I retrieve the details? Get session.get. And then I'll show you the method, session API, session delete method, which will mark the Pojo. So I don't remember whether I've written. Let's see. Yeah, I have written. So just open Hibernate session API. I've given you the whole lot of things I've written, so I'll not waste your time in telling you what to read. Hibernate session API has to be read. So read this on your own and we'll discuss. I'll just rephrase it corresponding this after committing transaction. See, I'm using different words. L1 cache is equal to entity cache is equal to persistent context. Yeah, please. I just thought of clarification. So which is the method? Whose method we are talking about? Session. Everything is with the session. What is the method you have? Session.delete. And here you typically pass the, not typically, okay, typically, because you can pass something else also, persistent Pojo reference. So here you are, so when you say session.delete, very interesting thing. So hear me. The moment you say session.delete, is it immediately gone? As in, is the delete query fired immediately? When I say session.delete, what do you expect? I've written already. Everyone knows by now. The DMLs will be fired only upon commit, right? So here read this. So then what happens? Pojo is only marked for removal. So this state is called as the last state of a Pojo. Which three states you already know? You know transient, you know persistent, you know detached. Today I'm talking about the removed state. Okay, so Pojo is marked up for removal means it entered the removed state. But is the record gone from the underlying database? No. Is the reference removed from the L1 cache? Not yet. Then what is happening? It is simply marked that this is going to be removed. Okay, and read further. So when will be the record deleted? When will be that synchronization happening? When will delete query be fired? You know the answer. Upon commit. And when will it go from the L1 cache? The moment session is closed. But guys, which is the method we are using to open the session? Is it open session or is it get current session? It is get current session, GCS, for example. So both the things are going to happen at the same time. Are you understanding me? The moment you say transaction.commit, which two things will happen? First thing is automatic dirty checking. As a result of it, what will Hibernate find? Or what will Hibernate know? That one entity in the L1 cache is marked for removal, but there is a corresponding record in the database. So naturally, which query will it fire automatically? Everyone knows delete query. So now the what do you say, the Pojo is gone. I mean, the record is gone. And what happens additionally on commit? The session is automatically closed. Exactly. And at the session closing time, what all happens? L1 cache is destroyed. Your connection returns to the pool. Are you getting this? So that entity is now gone from the L1 cache also. So now see the state. The state where you come back is no record in the database and not associated with L1 cache. So will you really call it detached or something else? What will you call it? Transient is a correct answer. Are you understanding? You are going back again to where it all started. Once you say delete followed by commit, the record will be gone from the database and session will be closed because of commit. So the whole record, I mean, the Pojo becomes all over transient again. And if you don't save it or if you don't send it to the caller, it will be marked for garbage collection. So why don't you look at it from the diagrams? Open yesterday's help. So yesterday's help, right? And if you see that Pojo life cycle, where are we? We are going to write this, but before that I have to make you ready. So here, Pojo does not exist. We are taking this branch. Okay, what is the requirement we are discussing? User is not happy with our services. User wants to unsubscribe. So what is the input we are giving? I can give any input, including email, password, whatever. I just decided simple one, user ID. So the Pojo does not exist. Which method will you use for getting a persistent Pojo? You don't know load. Load is later. Get or JPQL? Get. So when you say session.get, where is your entity? Entity, there is a corresponding record in the database. Data is lifted and your entity is persistent. Everyone understood me so far? Okay, so now you want to delete that record. So what is it? You don't require delete query. Of course, there is a delete query also, but currently. So you will use session.delete. And when you say session.delete, which of the following has happened? Once you say session.delete, is the record gone from database? Not yet. Is it detached from the L1? Is it gone from the L1 cache? Not yet. So it is simply marked for removal. And that is your removed state. Okay, you understood the statement. And when you close the session, for example, when you say transaction.commit, it's not drawn so clearly in this diagram, but you know, first automatic dirty checking, delete query is fired, then session is closed, and the entity once again becomes transient. Okay, so such a transient entity, of course, if you don't return it to the caller, that is marked for garbage collection. But if you just, what do you say, if you just return it to the caller, that can exist as a transient one, and then you can start the whole life cycle again. Because it is no longer part of L1 cache, it is doesn't have a corresponding record in the database, but it exists in heap. So what is it? Nothing but transient. So either via this or where is that? Here. The same thing. Only thing is in different words, different more this thing, more details. So now we are talking about the last state. What is the trigger or the entity is equal to Pojo to enter the removed state? Session.delete. It is simply marked for removal. It is still part of your this thing, L1 cache. It is still part of database. But after commit, as I've said already 3 times or whatever, delete query fired, record gone from database, L1 cache destroyed. So now it is neither part of database nor cache. So here we are having both nodes. So the removed entity, if you don't, removed entity after the commit method is called, which state it enters? Once again, transient. And then if you want to save it or persist it or whatever, the whole life cycle can begin again. So focus on the removed state and tell me. We are going to try this in a minute. Got some clarity? Understood something? So I'm not going to waste time today in putting a breakpoint. You add a breakpoint in the lab and you check whatever we said is right or wrong. So let's continue with the this thing. DAO interface. Open DAO interface and add a method. To unsubscribe. Unregister we don't use, unsubscribe user. And I have taken a way that to take an input as user ID, you can always change it to email or email and password, and you can do that. Since it is a DML, we typically have a message. So unsubscribe user. And all I'm taking from user is the user ID. Is the method declaration clear? Okay, let's continue to implementation. User DAO MPL. Since I'm continuing in yesterday's project, guys, whenever you are revising, please don't waste your time in yesterday's things. I'll tell you exactly which method onwards continue. That is why that sequence I have shared. So you'll know exactly what to revise and all. So add that. And please copy that boilerplate code. Okay, so very little you have to do. So now, let me have the this thing. So this part you already know. So here, how to get persistent user. Why I'm saying persistent? Because my delete method requires a persistent POJO reference. How to get the persistent user reference from user ID? Everyone knows the answer. I'll write the left hand side. You give me the RHS, please. We have done it yesterday, so I definitely expect it. Which is the method of session you are going to call? Get method. Everyone knows this, yes. So it's not just this, you require that POJO class also. So session.get. And what you have to pass is the POJO class. So which is the class which is going to be deserialized, which is the object, the user class. And then you pass the session ID. I'm sorry, not session ID, user ID I meant. Okay. But user may make a mistake. So blindly, if you call, what was that? Session.delete, you will get an exception. So first check if user is not equal to null, correct? So let's have a message declared here. See, I have to return a message. So I'm saying user unsubscription failed. Okay. So, and only in case it succeeds, I get the proper user, then I'll change the message to success. So here, send this message. And if it is not null, yes, we have found a valid user. So I can say valid user ID. And then you just have to mark session.delete, read the pop-up help, removes the persistent instance from the data store as a database. So delete session.delete and in goes that user. And here toggle the message to success. Okay. Are we done here? Let me just check. You also check. So this is your register message. Session transaction is all fine. User is okay. If it is not equal to null, session.delete, message and transaction.commit and all that. And return the message. Do this. So you can add this. This is only marked for removal. So which is the state? Okay, so if anyone asks you, what is the state of user here? This state is removed. And upon commit, you know everything. So here the delete query, thanks to automatic dirty checking, and session is closed. So this is where if you tap it here, what will be the state of user here? You have 4 choices now: transient, persistent, detached, or removed. Transient. You got this? Both nodes. Gone from session, gone from database. So of course it is transient. But I don't know whether you understood about my garbage collection. So let me ask you. This is not a Hibernate concept. This is our core Java concept. So now I'm returning from the method. So method returns. So think and answer. This is all about your core Java, heap, stack, and method area and all. So tell me, this user object was created in a local method, local manner. Are we returning the user object to the caller? No. So after the method returns, I'll improve my English. After method returns, can you tell me, are there, good old question, any candidates for garbage collection? This is what my diagram or the diagram says. Tell me, yes or no? If yes, how many? 100% one. So answer is yes. Because guys, if you recall our memory pictures and all, this was created in the method. And one of the triggers of garbage collection is, creating a local object and not returning it to the caller. So here there are candidates for this, and which is the object which will be gone will be the user object. So unless and until persisted, or if you don't return it to the caller, now that user is not even transient. Means what? It is also gone from the heap. It is nowhere, because it just garbage collection will grab, garbage collector will grab it anytime it gets a chance. So along with Hibernate, keep track of such things. If you are confused, give yourself some time. I've written a lot of comments. Look at it in the lab session. And if you are still confused, ask me definitely. So 100% the answer is yes, user object is garbage collectible. So this was about your method. Let's write the tester for it. Copy, get user details to delete user details. Or you can say unsubscribe user as per the thing. Yeah, sorry, I was asking you. So when this line is executed, I'm not doing it. You put a breakpoint and you press it F6, F6. So after this line is executed, any queries or no queries? Any queries or no queries? Of course, there is a select query. And after commit, you'll definitely see delete query, provided you have given the correct user ID. Otherwise, there's nothing. So you'll get an error message, failed, and the reason being, which is the only reason in case it will fail, is invalid user ID. Always do the error reporting properly so you can debug it easily. Okay, so let's talk about unsubscribe. I'll send you this in a minute. So here, enter user ID to unsubscribe, to whatever, to delete user details. And that's it. So call a different method, right? Unsubscribe and this. So let me send you both the classes, which is what? DAO and tester. I sent you the user DAO MPL, sending you the latest tester. Definitely it is all worth revision. So let's try running this and see whether the record can get deleted. So look at what we have. Oh, I was trying something else in the break. So what was it? Ours is DAC 22. So I got something 1 to 8 users. Let's delete that A1 thing was there somewhere. A1, B1. Okay, so the eighth one. Any tests. Okay, first try with the wrong thing. Which query has been fired? Only session.get and unsubscription failed, wrong user ID. So that branch is if else is working fine. And the get method basically is working fine. And suppose I give something like any ID, existing ID you get, you can see this is a response to your session.get. And here the delete query has been fired. And since we were deleting only one record, this approach is the best one. There's no bulk deletion. There's nothing like the, what is it called? Delete all the users or delete those users who have not paid the subscription amount in time, etc. So we are not doing any bulk deletion. Always check it from the database if the record is gone. Yeah, so I had this record A1, B1 types, which is gone. Tell me, working with you, working this thing completely? Clear also. So which is the latest method we discussed is session API delete functionality. Simple. But now you have a bulk deletion requirement. Suppose the next work. This, like I said, the basic API I took. Additional work is your work. Given you the major details already. So suppose I want to delete customer. So there is a catch. Am I deleting the admin role user or customer user, customer role user, customer role user? So you should read between the lines whose registration date is after a particular date, a weird requirement, just to check this. So suppose if there are such 20 customers in my database who have registered after a particular date, and if you use that approach, create query, get the list of persistent users, and in a loop called session.delete, how many queries totally will be fired? I said 20 customers are there who are registered after a particular date. How many queries will be fired? 1 select plus 20 delete perfectly. 20 plus 1. So do you want 21 or do you want one single query in such case? Of course, one single query. And the answer you know already. Like I showed you bulk updation. Can I use JPQL to have a delete query? Yes. It doesn't support insert, supports update and delete. And this is exactly the same. Delete from user you. You can drop the alias anytime. So it can also say delete from user, but then you don't use this also. So, balance. So I'm using the alias throughout where u.registration date is after a date. And which is the method you'll use after. Okay, sorry. Session.create query. Single argument you'll pass or 2 arguments will you pass to the create query? Let's see what you are saying. 1 argument, very right. Which will be that argument? User.class or JPQL? JPQL. Which JPQL? Select, update, delete, insert, delete. Obviously, you are that. And now, which is the method? Of course, you'll have to set the parameters and all that. So how many parameters will you set here? Actually, this is the wrong thing. Here, what is it I have forgotten? I'll say this. Incomplete. See, everything don't expect from me. Which is the other input parameter role exactly? Are you getting this? So this is like just a go-to kind of a thing. So anyway, so you know what I mean. So 2 times set parameters. And which method for execution will you use? Execute update or get single result or result list or whatever. Of course, execute update. Everyone knows that. We have spent so much time in JDBC. What will that execute update method return? Number of deleted rows or integer. But what does that integer mean? Update count, delete count here. And then you can give me a nice message that these many customer details deleted. Tell me openly, frankly, honestly, because this is going to be your lab work. Everyone feels comfortable doing it. Yes. So very good. So let me take you to the, because then I don't want to spend time on that. So now let us come to the one of the project kind of requirements. So I don't know how much of, interaction with the mentors and all you have done, but any mentor will tell you saving the image directly and retrieving the image, saving and retrieving from database is a time consuming, heavyweight task. So the better suggestion will be always upload the image and download it from some server side folder. That will be really fast. So in the spring MVC Hibernate training, I mean later, I'll show you upload, download. But if you have a project requirement which says no, I have to save the image, not image just is one example. Any binary content, any large binary content you want to save and restore, that is what I'm preparing you for. But if you hear my suggestion, my tip, as much as possible, don't store the images in database. It definitely takes huge amount of time uploading, downloading. All these I'll talk about when I talk about project tips and all that. But if you have a requirement, you should know the solution. So is the requirement clear? We want to first save the image to the database. But just saving is not sufficient because I will not even know, you'll not even know whether it is got saved properly. So we'll restore the image also. So if you notice, we already have got the image column. What is the type of this column, guys? We have created it on the first day, that is day before. It's a long blob. You can just see. Because I gave that at LOB, remove that at LOB and it will be, I think, medium blob or something by default. I don't remember exactly. So describe what? Users table. And you can see that it is a long blob. And now we are, but is it empty or is it populated? Of course, empty. So that is what we are going to populate. Fully clear the requirement about the requirement? Okay. So what we are going to do is, I think I've written this in sequence, I mean, in steps. So, okay, so let me say this. See, I have shown you in java.io, that is your core Java, reading the file, writing the file, copying the files. I'm talking about binary today, blob, I'm saying binary large object. Anytime you have a character large file, you go for clog. So that is separate. So, file input stream class, file output stream class. You remember file input stream, file output stream, binary file handling classes? Okay. But instead of going all the way to those basic APIs, I have already added one dependency, .xml, and we are going to make use of a class, as advanced class, file utils class, which will give you two things. So before I say anything further, Control-Shift-W, close everything, open pom.xml, and you will see that dependency. You should know which dependency I brought in for what. So these are all Hibernate. This is your database connector. This is the one. As you can see, I've just picked up that dependency tag from Maven Central Repository and all that. So this commons.io is already there. Okay. And in commons.io, you can see all this. Where is our Maven dependencies? Yeah. Open Maven dependencies. Again, this is too much internal. If you want, you can skip it. You will see a commons IO jar downloaded and nicely sitting in our M2 repository folder. If you open that further, so many packages, so much of APIs, so much of ready-made code it gives you. So if you expand the first one, a lot of things exist. There's a special class, special means useful class, file utils, whose methods I'm discussing. I'll recap quickly. We are going to store a binary file to a database. But for that, I have to convert the binary file contents into bytes, binary stream, byte array. So who's going to do that? This file utils class is going to help me doing that. And once we save it successfully, I would like to restore. So my database will have a byte array, bytes it will have. So after that, please don't say select star. You'll get the huge bytes. I mean, just the bytes this. So I want somebody which will read those byte array. I mean, we will read it from database, but put it in a file. So again, file utils class APIs. So if you see 2 days back, day 9 help, that is when I gave you the help Hibernate, we just got started there. In Hibernate help, under the references section, I have downloaded the Java docs for this. Actually, it pops up. But in case you want to see it, it is slightly older Java. We are using the Java 2.11, doesn't matter. You can still read that. And if you open this file utils class, so many things it provides. It is a very good utility class, guys. So there is something called as read bytes, something. Read something, I forgot the name. Read from, I guess. Read file, sorry. Read file to byte array. So read the method name. See, method name itself is so what you say, self-explanatory. So as usual, tell me what goes in and what comes out. What is the input you are supplying here? The file class instance. You remember java.io.file. So in goes the file class instance, and it is nothing but a converter. Reads the contents of the file into byte array. So what to what converter you will call it as? File to binary. File to byte array converter. And best thing is, I mean, you don't have to worry about closing, try with resources, nothing. You just use a static method, file utils.read file to byte array. And once you get the byte array, all you have to do is, it becomes so easy after that. You already have the image property of your user. Simply call the setter and watch the Hibernate magic. So one is this. So tell me, this method, will you use it for saving the file to the database or restoring the file from the database? Save or restore? Decide. I'm getting both the answers. This is a trick question. You connect, if you are not thinking, you connect read with restore. Wrong. Guys, user will give me a file name. From that, we'll create a file instance, convert it to byte array and save it to the database. So this is going to be used for saving the file into the database. And there is an opposite one. Write something. Write, yeah, exactly opposite. Tell me. Write byte array to file. You remember write methods are typically void returning. So what are the two arguments we are passing here? The file class instance and byte array. So after our saving works, we'll go for restore. So we will be reading that byte array from database, and that byte array data, I'll give it to this method and the file class instance. And this method will create a file containing that data. So in short, write method will be used for restore and the read method will be used for saving. If you are a little bit lost or completely lost, give me 10 minutes or whatever time, you all will be clear. We are doing it together. Okay, so let's start. See this already broken down in steps so that it becomes easy for you to digest. Save an image in database. Inputs, one input is fixed. User, I'm asking user which file you want to save. So user will give you the image file name, path or whatever. And then already I have got, see guys, we've got so many users. It is like, I just want to upload the profile pic or DP or whatever. I mean, some image, whatever. So all I'm going to take from user is I can take user ID, user email. It's just you decide. So I said email and the path. So what are the steps? I'm explaining the steps so you can do it parallelly. You don't have to wait for me. So we will be getting the user from email. I want the user in a persistent manner. So tell me, for this, what will you use? Session.get or JPQL? I mean, session.get or create query? I got the answer as get. Only one answer I got and that too got get. Wrong answer. Here, this one, Aman. Is email ID the ID? No. ID is user ID. So that is why, I keep changing things to check your understanding. Of course, it will be JPQL. What kind of JPQL? Yes, please. Select you from user you. That is same. Where u.email equal to :email or something. So then if the email ID is correct, I'll get a persistent one. So we'll check null not. Sorry. We'll get an exception otherwise. So that is easy. Now, user has given you some file path. But you remember, you have to validate the file. This is all we have covered in this thing, core Java. You remember? So we'll create a file class instance, and then we will use, is it an existing normal ordinary readable file? Otherwise, how can I open it? I'll start getting file not found exception. And then we will use this API. Which API? Write byte array to the, sorry. I got confused. Read file to byte array. Because now I have given the file, I have the validated file class instance, and then we will follow. So I'll get a byte array. It's a converter, file to byte array. And then we'll call a setter. And will you have to explicitly call the update, or will Hibernate automatically fire the update query? Will you have to call session.update? Absolutely not. Why? Because you know the whole thing. Automatic dirty checking. Hibernate will find that one of the property is dirty. Dirty means modified. The image was empty, now it is populated, and automatically it will fire the update query. Understood the steps? Do you feel confident to try it with us? To try it in the parallel manner? Let's give it a try. Let's see whether it succeeds. And then, of course, we'll talk about the opposite one. So open the DAO layer. Are you understand? Are you enjoying this? See, the moment you enjoy, you feel like slogging more and doing more. Are you liking all of this, whatever we are discussing? And still we have not even started with Spring. So you can imagine Spring and Hibernate integration, and then added the Spring Boot and all that. The whole stack, tech stack, becomes so interesting. Anyway, so let me just restrict my enthusiasm. Anyway, so let's write this user now and start with a command add, or I'll say save. I'll use better. Okay, I'll say this, add a method to save image in the database. So this it is. And since it is saved, I'll just give a message that image saved, image not saved types. And here I'll say save image. And I have to know for which user I'm saving the image. So I'll take email ID we decided, and the name of the whole file path. You can say file name along with the file path. Understood agreeing with this method declaration? So let us write the implementation part. Source and copy the boilerplate code. Reach here and we'll go ahead together systematically. Tell me whenever you have done this much. Done? Okay, continue. So, since it is email-based checking, we are going to require JPQL. So start by adding JPQL. If you notice, guys, I hope you are noticing the programming pattern I'm using. I'm not declaring JPQL and all inside after this, because when you say get current session followed by begin transaction, of course the connection is going to be pulled out. So the shorter time, lesser time it stays outside the pool, better code, better performance. So only the things which you really require to do in the session scope, as in Hibernate session scope, you write it inside. Otherwise, all that other work, whatever work you can perform and do it, you can do it outside. That way is the approach. So let's say JPQL, select you. All these are kind of user, project types to improvise the speed. Where I'll purposefully say this, anything, this parameter name does not have to match with your database column name nor your property name. It's a in parameter name. Select you from this. Okay. Now I can do the validation of file, but okay, let's do it in a systematic manner. This is it. So let us write the query. So user is equal to create query. Since it is a select query, choose the 2 argument query syntax, create query, and it is going to give you the user class. Are there any in parameters to be set? Yeah, message also will write. Girish, in a minute, well got. So here, so there is an in parameter email. So set parameter. Don't go for position. We are not using question mark. Go for the named in parameters. The name I have given is EM. You can give anything. And the user has supplied the value with email. So now our query is ready for execution. And then since maximum, we are going to get what? Maximum I'm saying is 1. So why go for that other one? Go for the convenience method, get single result. In the meantime, you finish this, I'll keep a message ready. Saving image. Okay, so I can return that message and we will toggle it in case of a success. Done so far? Done and more than done, understood so far. You let me know whenever you're done. Got it? Clear? Okay, like I said, there's no pressure on typing or coding along, just be focused on understanding as always. So now tell me, in this next line, do you have to do the null check or is null check not required? Null check required, null check not required. Tell me. All wrong. Forgotten. That's why I take all this. When you say get single result, what is it going to, if there is no result, is it going to return you null or is it going to throw the exception? Tell me. It's going to throw the exception. Which exception? No result exception. And check it out later. No result exception extends from runtime. It is an unchecked exception. So the moment the control comes to the next line, it implies, tell me, user ID valid or user ID invalid? Implies valid user ID. Otherwise, Hibernate throws which exception? No result exception. So guys, if you say session.get, null checking is required. If you say get single result, null checking is not required. Keep it easy and light. So I don't have to do any checking. So can anyone tell me? Can you say something confidently here? What will be the state of user if it comes to the next line? Transient, detached, persistent, detached or remove? 100% persistent. Either it will throw the exception and tell you that nothing found, or it will definitely return you the persistent entity, which is part of which is loaded from the database and put it in the 11 cache. Got this? So now we are, so user ID wise, there's no problem. Now, let me write this, validate the file. Because user has given me just a file name, which may or may not exist. So validate the file. You know the steps. Create file class instance and use the API. Which API exists, etc. We'll write it. So here I'll create file. Choose file from java.io, not anything else. New file. All this we had done it in core Java in IO. File name. And then you check if file exists. If it is a is file, and does it have a do we have the read permission? Can read. Okay, because we are going to read the data from the file and put it on the this thing. What is it called? Put it in the database. So here it means yes, valid file. Are you understanding how we are proceeding? First, I have validated that yes, it is a user is present, then I'm checking file is valid. So now it is just a matter of what? Calling the API. So valid file, continue to set the image. So I have that user dot, which is the setter, set image, go slow at this point. I'm directly calling, I'm trying to modify the state of the persistent Pojo, and we'll see whether Hibernate does its job as advertised, as an update and all. So, but here the image, the set image method requires a byte array. So is there any method which can directly convert from the file to byte array? Answer is yes. So that is what I had explained you. So file utils, simply say here, control space, choose file utils from org Apache Commons IO. Okay. And here, read file to byte array. In goes the file class instance. And so you can there's an unchecked exception, I mean unhandled exception, we'll fix it in a minute, don't worry. So here, read file to byte array. In goes the file class instance and converts it into byte array. So let me just fix the compiler error. Take the cursor here, or if you have opened that Java docs, can you see this? It includes in the throws class IO exception. So tell me, is it a checked exception or unchecked? Everyone knows it. It's a checked exception. So here, for a change, which is the exception should I catch and rethrow? Catch exception and rethrow it to the caller. But we have a problem. Here, have I added any throws clause to tell the compiler that I'm not handling this checked exception but delegating it to the caller? We haven't. So for the first time in Hibernate, because we are having IO exception thanks to that saving and restoring, add a throws clause. Okay, let's be better. No, I was going to say throws IO exception, but then my other exception, the Hibernate exception, won't be caught. So throws IO, throws exception. I'll repeat the statement slowly because I mean unnecessary, and I don't want you to feel lost. So you start telling me this read file to byte array method, what is the exception it may throw? Which is the exception? IO exception. Checked or unchecked? Checked. Must be handled. You got it? So since I'm not handling it in the dow layer, later we will handle it in the topmost layer currently, which is a tester. So we are delegating the exception. You got that? So here I said throw E. Please add throws everywhere. So when I say rethrow the exception, of course, it doesn't allow me, compiler doesn't allow me to throw any, what is it called, checked exceptions. So I just added the throws exception and let tester handle it. So you tell me, if the control comes later, what does it mean? The setting image and that whole conversion successful. So saving image. Okay, I'll say this directly. I'll change the message. Saving image in database successful. You got that? In the else branch, to always do the error handling properly, error reporting, not handling. Here, I'll say the same thing. Saving image field. The reason being, what's the reason? Invalid file. So that if it doesn't work for you, you'll know. And the other exception is anyway that email wrong, that will be no result exception. So I think we are done. So mention this. At this point, automatic dirty checking by Hibernate resulting into what it results into, an update query, and we'll see if it works. So you can go line by line. I'll send you this in a minute. Or okay, let me send you right away. All now you have to write is a two-liner tester. I've sent you the user.mpl. I'll send you if you want the interface also. Yeah, both have sent you the till whatever I've done. So go step by step. Starting with this error message. Simple JPQL, which is finder by email. It's nothing but a finder by email ID. Since it is a not a ID, not a ID based finder. It's not a find by primary key. We had to use the create query and JPQL. The good news about good part about get single result is it doesn't return you any null and all. If the result is not found, it will directly throw the exception. So I don't have to do any checks. The moment control comes here, I know that at least the user by that email exists. So now just do some validation on the file. If it is all correct, all I had to do was, see, in goes, you can take the cursor here and read. It will read this file utils class method, reads the contents of the file and convert it into binary. So you are supposed to give a binary file, correct? And then set image method, our own setter is requiring byte array. So all you have done is call the setter and use some of the API for the easy conversion. Not using core Java API becomes too much of a code. Giving a message here, and at the time of commit, actual update query will be fired to synchronize the state to this. In short, the image will be saved and returning the message accordingly. Got something? Understood the code? Okay, we'll try this out. So I'm just giving you a small hint. After inserting the image, if you say, for example, you are going to see the large image data, and that will kill you. When I say kill you, the whole data, the whole bytes will be displayed. And sometimes I have seen the MySQL command line client crashes. So please don't make a mistake of saying select star. Immediately we will write this thing, a restore data kind of utility, and we'll see whether the image is saved and restored. Once again, I'm repeating, don't make the mistake after saving select star. You can say select this thing, a user ID, email and all, but don't include the image because there will be actually binary, byte array, blob kind of a thing sitting there. Okay, so one more tip I'm giving you here. Somewhere I've written sizes. Yeah. So this is whatever I have written. Is it for all the databases? No. What I have given you is only for MySQL. This is I've just taken from MySQL manual. So it supports different type of blobs. The one which we are using here is a long blob. So it says, how many bytes of data? 4 GB. But the point is, it doesn't actually support it unless and until you have set the flag. So either play with the small files. Around 1 GB, I guess it saves, but otherwise change this. No, sorry. I take it back. Some few kilobytes it will save. So why don't you take this? And suppose you want 1 GB, for example, maximum. Otherwise, beyond 1 GB, storing the data in database is like totally not optimal. So suppose I say, with Spring Boot, there are other tips. I'm not talking in Spring Boot here. To change the max allowed packet till say 1 GB. This is the 1 GB value. Otherwise, you can say, for example, 2 GB, 3 GB, whatever. So just take this. And where are you going to add it? Paste it under the, not copy it, I guess. Paste it under the database. But when you reopen this session as in MySQL again, you'll have to do that. So I'm suggesting, anyway, this is a classroom kind of a demo. Choose the smaller images. So I'm sure you must be having so many images all over the place. You must have done image uploading, downloading in React and what was that? Node. Similar things. So I've got certain images, typical images. So let's see. What's the size? 3.98 KB. Okay, fine. So choose small image so that you don't get into problems easily. So Pick up anything, whatever you have available. Oh, we have not written the tester. Sorry. We'll first write the tester and we'll test it. So come back and let's write a tester. Copy it from get user details. And I'll say save image. Tell me, what are the inputs you're going to take from user? Enter email ID. So we'll enter this. Is equal to, what was it? sc.next. Or okay, next line. Why I'm suddenly switching to next line? Anyone, any clues? I never use next line because anyway, email is one word. But guys, yeah, exactly. File name can have white spaces. So I don't want to have any problems. So email, and then I can say string file name, file path, file name, whatever. Next line. Here you there. So that, we don't waste time. Integrate it into web application, then you don't have to worry about next or next line. You just say request.get parameter. You remember request.get parameter and the data is sent. Or with JSP Java Bean, you just declare a property. So what is it? Enter the file name along with path. And then we are going to call this method dot see email and file name. And we'll see what happens. Don't do select star after that. So already said. Oh. Is that okay? Yeah. So pick up some of the user email. For example, I want to maybe associate the image, set the image for a user named Priya. I mean, email this. And here, okay, the email is entered. And now enter the file name. So don't trust your spellings. At least I don't do that. Wherever. I don't know. In my case, I generally don't add the white spaces, but still I'm not taking the chances. So suppose I say Apple. Oh, just checking what extension it is. So apples.jfif. Please give the extension and all, otherwise you'll get that file not found. And see the things happening. I'll not still say it as a hybrid matching because where we have confirmed, we've just seen the select. This select is thanks to session.create query, get single result. And you can see here the update method also getting called, and I'm not getting any exceptions and not getting any messages. Working for you guys? Are you seeing this message? We can't trust this message unless and until we write the restore part. Awaiting your response. We are going to write the restore part and then going to take that break, next break. Working? What repeat, Omkar? I just written the tester. Nothing else. Just look at, run it and check. I didn't understand. Okay, some of you are saying, like I said, those who are not trying now, please try it in the lab. Go through it and then, of course, I will explain. If anyone, file not found exceptions, Shubham, that means you have given a wrong path. So I'm not going to help you here. You have to at least give the path and all that correctly. I'll send you this tester also. You should be able to at least give the correct file names with the path. That much is expected, guys. So which is that method? Save image. Okay. Now we are checking. See, like I said, if you say select star, it is going to blow up. Sometimes I've seen the entire laptop or whatever crashing, your machine crashing. Don't be tempted to do that. We are going to write a restore in 2 minutes. So what I was going to say something. Yeah. So I'm suggesting I have got one folder as images and I have got another folder somewhere. Okay, so I'll delete all these images from here. So I'm suggesting create another folder, empty folder. And how we are going to test it? So this is an empty folder. So we are going to restore the image from database and put it in the server side. It's not a server or client. We'll keep it in the folder. Is the requirement clear? Very good, Shubham. So is the requirement clear or not? So choose some folder, empty folder, which doesn't have that image. I'm not saying empty, any folder which doesn't have other folder. And this path we are going to give for restoring. Tell me something. Requirement clear or not? Requirement is clear. Okay, fine. So now read this. Not written. So here. So saving the image. Oh yeah, I have written. Sorry. Restore the image from database. So you can supply user email, user ID. This time changing it so that you are. When I give you the different requirements, you will not get addicted to one solution. You will have to think differently. So suppose I'm giving this time a user ID. Whose user ID I'm going to give while testing? Ria's user ID. So you please remember where you added that thing. So add the image file path, and on this path, that new path, that latest image path, that is where the image will be, what is it called? Uploaded and stored. So go step by step. First is the moment I give user ID, now I can use the session.get because I can always use JPQL. Which JPQL? Select you from user u, where u dot user ID equal to colon ID. But when I have ready-made method, why struggle? So I'll get this. Check for not null. And now we have lifted the user details, including the image. So simply call get image. What will it return? A byte array. So now this time, which converter you require? File to byte array or byte array to file? Easy question. Answer is already there. What will you need? Byte array to file. And this is the method to use. So what are the two arguments you are going to give? Byte array data, which you got it from that get image, and the file class instance. No need of validation because it is going to create a new file. So spend half a minute on this and tell me, are you clear with the steps? Because we are going to follow them in a minute. Got some idea about what is it we are going to attempt? We're just going to upload the image from the database and put it in the folder. Okay, let's get going. So everything starts with the DAO interface. Before taking after this, I'm giving you a break and then we will continue to relationships and all that. So that time I will make a zip and share. So where are we? I use the DAO. Copy this so that I don't have to type much. So restore image. Add a method to restore image from the database into a folder. It's not a server side folder yet, into a folder. Okay. So just a second. Am I saying? Yeah, fine. So restore image is fine. This time for a change, just to keep your mind sharp, here I'm giving user ID. Of course, I can give email. I can give anything which is unique. And this file name is going to be, yes, the file name along with the folder. So I don't have to say that whatever I have got apples, suppose. So I can call it as anything. Or you can remember the name and you can give the same. So this is your method declaration. So I hope your method declaration is clear, because that is the starting point. Thank you. Now open the DAO layer and let's do it in a quick but systematic manner. Source implement. Copy paste this boilerplate code. I'm saying this all the time because wait for another 2 days or 3 days, whatever, two days, I think. And we will be having 2-3 days Spring Hibernate integration. And all this repetitive code is going to reduce to 0. So why waste time in something which you are not going to use later? So now let's start systematically. So I've given user ID. Since it is a user ID, I don't require any JPQL. So get user details from user ID. So everyone knows get. Okay. So this part is done. I have now image in database, which we are trying to pull it up and save it in the folder. That's the opposite thing we are doing. Earlier we had image file which we have stored, but I have to confirm whether it is there or not that way. So now is null checking required or not required? Do you have to say user equal to null? 100% yes. Now this time answer is yes, guys. You are mixed up. Get method doesn't throw the exception. In case of invalid ID, what it returns is null. That is why I keep changing the inputs all the time. Whereas when you say get single result, it directly throws the exception. So the control will never come to the next line. Session.get null checking required. Get single result. No null checking because it is directly throwing an exception. Understood what I said? You will get it. Today you'll require maybe larger time than usual to revise, but you will get it there. Okay, so here, if user is not equal to null, that reminds me, I have not set the message, we'll set the message. So just copy it. Start in a failure of this restoring image field maybe. And wherever it works, we'll just toggle it. Okay. So if it is not null, this means valid user ID means same thing I'm saying 20 times at least. User Pojo is in a L1 cache and lifted from the database. So part of L1 cache, part of database both. So here now, let us say user dot get, user dot get image. And what is it returning? It is returning you a byte array. Understood that? So I can do it in 2-3 steps and later maybe I'll combine it in one because you don't require. But go systematically. Everyone clear? I've just got the image data so far. And now let us use that file utils method, which now this is write. I've got a byte array. I want to write it to the file. So file utils dot write something, write byte array to the file. Pick up the method, write a byte array to the file, creating the file if it doesn't exist. So this is all fine. So first argument here is the byte, file class instance. So we'll create a file class instance here itself. You can do it in multiple lines. File name. And oh, the third one, you don't require this. This is for create and all, and image data. And if it does not throw you any exception, did I make a mess here? No, here. I copied it from that template. So please catch exception here. So if it doesn't throw you any exception here, then you can definitely change the message to image restored. Database. And you don't have to like rely on this message. We will actually go to that folder. While giving the file name and the folder name, we are going to do it in a different folder. So you'll see all this. So I think we are done, other than returning the message. So check. This file handling code is extra, agreed. But as far as Hibernate's magic is concerned, all I'm doing to get the image from the database is get image. For adding the image, I just call set image on a persistent Pojo. That's it. So I think just check it from the top. starting with the failure message, getting the user from the user ID. Here, I did not write the else branch because I have already got the message here. So if user is not equal to null means I have retrieved the user details, it is persisted, read the image, and once I have the image data, just put a cursor here and you'll understand, writes a byte array to the file, creating a file if one doesn't exist. So what are the two arguments we have passed? File class instance based on the name of the file, path, and all user has given. And the second argument is binary array and changing the message and returning the message to the caller. Done? If not done, at least understood what is it I'm saying. Requirement is, the code is clear. So now let us go to the tester and copy save image into restore image. Okay. So let's edit it. Enter the user ID. We purposefully changed it to this. So I'll just change it here. Next int, I want to say, small problem. But now, suppose when I say enter user ID, what user is going to do is, user is going to press enter after that, and that next line will be pending in the buffer. So here, add sc.nextLine extra to read off pending new line. Carriage return basically from the scanner's buffer. All this only in core Java. All when I put this into web application, nothing required. And then I'm saying enter file name. This file name is fine. And we are going to call a message method here, restore. And here you are going to pass the user ID. Check if I make any mistakes, do tell me. So the user ID is read, that enter is read, or otherwise you can change slightly. Enter user ID and the file path in the same line. So then this line will not be required. It all depends on how you give the data. And this and file name. Okay. I'll send you. I'm just taking care of new line character, nothing else. Okay, let's test it. But here, allow me a minute to test because you have to give the path properly. So please give the user ID where you have attached. I think, yes, not I think, I know it's user ID 2. And here, now while selecting the path, are you going to give it on the original folder? Original folder has a method, has a file. So I told you, choose some other folder. Need not be blank. I just don't want that image there. So here, folder. When you actually do in projects, in one of the, what is it called, database table columns, you will store the file name also. But since I have not stored it, I'll just take it as, let's say, new file. It's not a very professional approach. Whenever you are uploading, restoring the file, better restore it by the same name. So just to show you, and this was, so, okay, so I'm doing it. And you can see the only one query which is required to read all the details from the user. It says this. I hope you understood what I said. So please copy paste the path properly and give any name but the extension also. I actually, even if you call it as a different extension, it will still work, but not professional. So I told you, as a projective, store somewhere the file name as well. So you don't have to worry about this. And go to this and you should see the file restored. You can check, the same file, whatever, add, saved, the same is getting restored. So tell me, is it working for you or not? Working, very good. So let me just create a zip and give you a break here. You can try this. All of it is you are going to try it in the lab in case you are just trying to absorb the concept, but do try it sometime so that when I take you to wait a second. When I take you to, I've written this one, Shubham. Sent you the sequence. It is mentioned in that sequence. So look it up. What is it I wanted to say this? Yeah, I was talking about in project. So in project phase, in case you insist that I have to save the binary contents, I'm just giving you that help. But my suggestion would be 100%. Don't save it, especially large binary content, large image files. Storing and restoring takes huge amount of time. So please restrict that and save it on the server side folder. Trust me, the downloading, uploading from the client to server side folder and all that happens fast. So what I was telling you, Shubham, was I have already sent you earlier all this sequence which contains the command, which contains the database thing. Anyway, I'm sending you once again. So try this out for the larger images. And like I said, it's not generally a good idea. If it is a few kilobytes images, happens fast, but megabytes or MBs and GBs and all does take a lot of time. So let's have a 10 minutes break here. Try it out in the break in case you could not complete. And we will have all these doubts or whatever questions and all directly in the lab session. In 10 minutes, we'll resume. Good afternoon and welcome back. So have you tried, guys? Some of you had tried even before the break. Has anyone else tried and working fine? Okay. So guys, let me not working. Okay. So Girish, then you'll have to show me the lab. Not now. So what I was saying is right. Today, I think you'll require longer time to do the revision. So take whatever time, and I'll mention all these details properly, that in which sequence. What I'm going to do today is I'll do it this way. So to make your whole revision part easy, I'll give you exactly the names of the testers, because then you will follow that particular flow, and I'll tell you that try this, try that. In short, please follow the instructions from the lab instruction part. So now what I'm starting with is of course, advanced part. I mean, the blob handling and all also is an advanced part. But here what I'm starting is the relationship between different entities, which can be inheritance also. So if you are wondering how can I think of inheritance in database, that is where we talked about the other day, impedance mismatch. Inheritance is a concept in the object-oriented world, and you will see how it is mapped to database world. All this is again super interesting, little involved. So inheritance you will see. So it's a relationship. Everyone knows inheritance is a relationship. You will see the association. When I talk about association, which relationship am I talking about? Has a relationship, right? So you'll see the has a relationship and all that. Abstraction, we don't, polymorphism, yes, polymorphic queries and all that. So definitely we are entering advanced Hibernate topic, where I'll start with a basic inheritance. I'll discuss the whole thing, and then the type of associations which you will definitely require in your projects is all of it. So now we are going to create a fresh demo for that. And looking at time left, of course, I can't cover all, but I generally start with one-to-many. The most often required is one-to-many and many-to-one association. So in short, we are going to start discussing these two. So to give you the domain model, this is all about student, it's like a training center kind of a requirement, where you launch courses, where you admit students, you add the student information, then you allocate projects to the students, etc. So to give you the feel, what kind of relationships we are going to have, let me see, because I just dumped so many things in this readme. I'll just check whether I can give you some idea. Yeah, I can give you some idea. So what are you going to, I'll start it today. Some part, fortunately, unfortunately, I'll have to take in the labs. Otherwise, we can never start with Spring, or, I can never start take you the other concepts. So let me not waste time in just talking about it. I'm going to start with a basic form of inheritance, something using an annotation. Everything will be done with annotation. So let me ask you, how many entities have we created so far in last 2-3 days? Only one entity. Everyone understands it, but that is hardly realistic. Your projects will have so many tables, and so many tables will be mapped to entities. So let me ask you, suppose you have 10 entities. Okay. And in that 10 entities, the moment I say entity in the middle of night, what are the annotations you will have to add? Compulsory annotations. At entity, at ID. Everyone gets it? So, of course, at entity is definitely required. But if you have this at ID annotation on a primary key, such as integer, long, and all, and the generated value and whatever that is, what is that? Generated strategy and all that, putting it in 10 places makes sense, or code reusability makes sense. You know what I'm talking about, inheritance, reusability. So soon we will be creating a base class, as in common superclass, which is a kind of a base entity, and using one single annotation. You will be amazed to see the power of annotations. All these are JP annotations. You will tell Hibernate, or we will tell Hibernate as a JP implementer, don't create any table for this, but use it as a common superclass. So you will enjoy inheritance. Later, I'll tell you some more inheritance strategies. This is one of the easiest ones. Now, we are building a demo for something like a training center. You think of it as a CDAC, ICSD, something. So we will have courses launched. Okay. So tell me, one course, can it have one student only, or multiple students? Easy question. Multiple students. So you can now configure, okay, you can understand. So here you have one course and multiple students. So which side is the one side and which is the many side? Course is the one side and student is the many side. So if I view this relationship from course to student, what is it? One to many or many to one? Easy questions I'm asking. No clue? Okay, one to many. Of course, you can write in short forms. So this is my short form, one to many. And when you view it from student to course, what will you call it? The opposite way I'm saying, many to one. Everyone understands it. So I'm going to show you two flavors. See, even I get a feedback from the batches, from the earlier batches. And when I see that, okay, people are suffering, people like your seniors, because of one particular thing, I always try to inculcate it in the incorporate it in the next batch. So the point I'm saying is, I'm going to show you this batch, your batch, both the things. I'm going to show you course and student unidirectional relationship, which is very easy to configure. And the bidirectional relationship, bidirectional means what? You should be able to, this is currently the arrow. I mean, I'm just changing it with the arrow. So from course details, will you be able, if the moment I make it bidirectional, will I be able to access the student details? Yes. And from student, will I be able to access the course details? Answer is yes. So the description was not like that, but the point is, I'll show you both the flavors, unidirectional, bidirectional. So you can imagine courses table, students table. So please tell me, between courses table and the students table, how will you join these two tables? We have done the whole topic tutorial case study. So, and otherwise also, yes, please. What will you use for joining these tables? Foreign key. Where will be the foreign key column? In the course side or in the courses table or students table? Of course, many side students table. And you will see, okay, more information I want from you. What is it? Yeah. Which will you call as a parent side, and what will you call it as a child side? Which will be the parent side? Course is parent. All these things I had said, topic tutorial, first day, JDBC. And student is a child side. And child cannot exist without parent. So where is it you'll have to insert the row first? I'm just confirming your database revising. Of course, a parent record, and there can be multiple such records for student. One topic, multiple tutorials, one course, multiple students. Got it all fine? So one side, which is many side, which is parent, which is child, all clear. I will introduce another term, another thing when we start writing it. Actually, there is a something called as owning side, and the other side is called as non-owning side. So what are these owning? Non-owning is called as inverse side. So the owning side is the one where you have the actual physical mapping, actual foreign key column. So, and the opposite side in a bidirectional relationship is called as an inverse side. So in couple of minutes, we are going to start developing. We'll just barely start. And unfortunately, I'll continue it in the lab session. I have to do it in lab session. So after your revision is fully done, then only I'll start disturbing you. So coming back to the point, tell me, which side will have the foreign key? C or S? C for course, S for student. So which side is called as the owning side of the relationship? C or S? It is the student. No, somebody is saying course. Guys, course is the parent side, but it is a non-owning inverse side because the foreign key mapping, foreign key column will be there in student. So student will be the owning side and the course will be the inverse side. Okay, so this is about course and a student. But that means only two tables. You will say, no, I'm still not getting a project field. I mean, it is too basic for my project. My project involves so many. So wait. Can I have a relationship between you can have student and student details, or I'm just taking student and address. So tell me, what kind of relationship I can have? I can have, okay, so one student typically has one address. So what kind of a relationship? Already there are answers, one-to-one. And again, I can configure it as, bidirectional, unidirectional. There are some disadvantages of association. I'll discuss the disadvantage and finally we'll come to the very, standard way using shared primary key. You know what we'll do? The address, okay, student ID will be there, of course, student entity, but address will not have its own ID. It will have the primary key as well as foreign key referencing the student ID. So it's called as a shared primary key approach. The moment the number of primary key reduces, indexing becomes faster, optimal performance. So you'll get a exposure of that also. And tell me, not in your CDAC, not in your DAC course, but in general, can one student be a part of multiple projects? Technically speaking, I'm not talking about you are part of one project, I know that, but technically yes. And can one project have multiple students? Yes. Another famous example which I'm going to take, but in Spring Security, user and a role. So tell me, can one user have multiple roles such as moderator, administrator, manager? Yes. And can one role have multiple users? Yes. Book and author, etc. So let me not waste your time. So I will involve that also. We are building that ER diagram. We are building that lot of things. So this will be a classic reference to for your project. That's my hope. Okay. So this is what we will be doing between entity and entity. All relationships will be covered. One-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, and many-to-many. And then you will see, do you remember, has a relationship, association has two flavors: strong coupling, loose coupling. So if it is a strong coupling, what is it called? Aggregation or composition? Composition. And do you remember long back in core Java, how we were saying, I forgot the examples. See, a student and Aadhaar card. Yes, the same example I had taken for the reason. Yes. Yeah, a pet has a tail. Yeah, you remember. Good memory, Prashant. So here, so like, or human has a lungs or pair of lungs, or human has heart, etc. So the point is, for what? For representing composition, do you remember what we had used? It's a memory-based question or maybe understanding-based question. Inner class. Why is only Prashant this thing? What about others? Yes, you remember we had created the inner class. I'm not talking about anonymous inner class, inner class. And we spent so much time this thing. Inner classes can access outer classes members, etc. So the good news is here, of course, I think that time I had said, please do this properly because we are going to do it in Hibernate again. So now is that again. So for composition, do I have to again do? So student has a Aadhaar card. Student has a educational qualifications, 10th, 12th, your degree, diplomas, your post-graduation, etc. So, so you don't have to, the good news I'm giving you is you don't have to go to the inner classes approach. That is so much core Java. I'll be giving you couple of annotations at the rate embeddable. You are embedding without writing the inner class. One annotation does the trick. And that time you'll definitely appreciate power of JP and Hibernate. So the point is it's a big what do you say set of set of objectives, and then we will build it together, and you will have a 100% clarity on how to apply to your project ideas. So I've not built or written the ER diagram, but this kind of a thing we are going to build. And over, of course, I can't finish it today, even if I take it in the lab session. So of course, we'll be involving tomorrow also, at least part of tomorrow, and then we'll proceed. Got some idea about what we are going to build? What kind of associations and relationships we are talking about? All, I'm trying to cover all. So you pick up whatever you require for your project. Okay, so let's get started. But if I introduce all of them together, you of course feel definitely more than lost, more than confused. So I'll just start with the first pair of relationships, which are super important. I'm telling you, most of the use cases in your projects will be solved with these two. So today I'm showing you a bidirectional relationship. I'll give you the tips. Tips means when to use what. Okay. So if you require something like cascading, you have to use a bidirectional association. You may not understand all my words. Give me some time. Everything will be cleared after some time. Okay. So focus on things. So what I'm just starting looking at time is the discussion. So one course can have multiple students, and from this arrows, you tell me, are we building a unidirectional association or bidirectional? Everyone understood me? Bidirectional. Means what? Again, I'm repeating at the cost of irritating you. Will I be able to access the student details with a course ID, or I mean course from the course? Yes. And from the student reference, if I get a student reference, I'll be able to get the course details also. All with me? Everyone understood it so far? Okay. So now let's start designing the whole. Okay, by the way, the most important layer here is a POJO, because it is all relationships between entities. Today I'm continuing with entities. Tomorrow, to show you that association, that composition part, we'll talk about something called as value types, and your understanding will be complete. So entity to entity, entity to value, all of it will be a good use case, a case study for your projects. So let us say, I've written so many things. Okay, I hope you have all this. So here, think of it in the table. We are not going to write tables. We are going to create a POJO, but once you have an idea and table, I think you'll be able to relate it. So course has an ID because it's an entity. Course title, let's say React or Mastering React or whatever, Spring Boot or Spring Hibernate, something. It has a begin date, it has an end date, it has fees, and what I've forgotten is the capacity. I mean, maximum capacity a course can hold, maybe 200 students or 10 students or whatever. Are you all clear? So this will be your courses table columns, which we will reflect it in a what? In a POJO. And students table column, I'm purposefully keeping it lesser. You'll know because it is going to grow later. So student has an ID, student has a name, student has an email, and later I'm going to add student has an Aadhaar card. Student has an address, student is participating in set of projects, etc. So tell me, are the table definitions clear? completely? Okay, so why don't we start creating, looking at it, maybe some little things only I can start. Anyway, so I would suggest now it's high time that you choose a different project. So this project, what was the name of it? Yeah, day 11.1. Use it as a reference for CRUD, saving blobs, and so many things we did since morning. Let us create a fresh project and dedicate it only for associations between entity and something called as entity and embeddables. So in short, copy. I mean, don't waste time. Just copy this and then we'll empty. I'm just checking which one is easier to copy. Lesser thing I wanted. Anything. Anyway, let me not confuse you. You can copy day 11.1 into 11.2. We are going to discard so many things, don't worry. And here, when you copy, this is a Maven project. Heart of Maven is a form.xml document. Replace globally to day 11.2 and give a proper description. So you can say replace all. And in the description, this is no way it is a simple Hibernate project. It is a Hibernate ER. Hibernate entity to entity relationship. And not only entity to entity, it is like a ER case study. So whatever, I'll try to put a lot of things inside. Let's see how much time we have and all those things. So done this. You can close this. Okay, sorry, save it. And sometimes the changes are not applied. So update the project. And some rare case, you might use force update also. Maven, update project, force update. So there's no ambiguity that, the changes are not applied and all that. Okay, so this is done. Now get rid of the stuff quickly. So you are going to require DAO, but we are going to write everything from scratch. So empty those folders as in packages. I just did not delete this because at least we will require. And in test, only keep test Hibernate as a bootstrapper. Get rid of everything else. Keep test Hibernate because it's good to keep that in case you feel you think that something is not working at all. You have some go-to code. Utils is unchanged. Once you write utils, you don't even look at it. And go to your Hibernate configuration XML. There is not going to be any user Pojo. There are going to be course, student, projects, and rest of it. Done that? I'll test it and send you. So first thing is check with all those changes. Okay, guys, if you're copying from mine, standard things, you have to change your username and a password as per your settings. And in a minute, let's just check this test Hibernate script. I mean, not script, whatever, class tester. And you should see the session factory opened and cleaning up of the connection pool. So have we got that day 11.2 or whatever you are calling in a correct manner started? Okay, so we are focusing on student and a course. So one-to-many and many-to-one bidirectional association is the good starting point because you require it all the time. So go to Pojos and create two classes. One is course and one is student. In the similar manner, I'm going to get it done. Few more things because like guys, it is impossible otherwise to complete. So all these things done. But in addition to that, you are going to have address, projects, student hobbies, etc. 10 different Pojos. So if those are entities, see there are two categories. One is Pojo acting as an entity and one is Pojo acting as something called as value type, which is called as embeddable. So forget embeddable. Embeddables all tomorrow. So if it is an entity, everyone knows it must have an ID property. So instead of mentioning, adding this ID property in 10 different Pojos, let us create a common superclass. So here I'm showing you the inheritance in Hibernate or JPA. So I always like to do it with a, let's do it with a, what is it, API docs. So open J2E docs, because anytime I'm taking an annotation, it is from JPA. So please open Java EA docs index page and look for annotation called as map superclass. The name of the annotation itself is self-explanatory kind of thing. So if you can't find it, and you can see the time also running out, so you can refer here JP annotation map superclass. Does not matter whether you are using Hibernate or code or whatever, all same, independent of Hibernate. Now read this. It tells you so much. Designates represents a class whose mapping information is applied to all the entities that inherit from it. So tell me, is it going to be a super, is it going to be applied to the superclass or subclass? Simple question, simple answer. This annotation, is it going to be applied to which one? Of course, a common superclass base class. And it tells you, will your JPA or Hibernate, is it going to create any separate table for it? Absolutely not. So this is just a convenience. Convenience means what? Code reusability. Instead of adding that ID, or later I'm going to show you version, at version for optimistic locking. So all the common annotations, common fields, you can put it in one place. And they show you so many examples. So map superclass employee, and this is your full-time employee, extends employee, at entity and all is required. And then you can have a part-time employee or that contracted employee and all that deriving from it. So let's do it. One more class. Before I come to subclass, let's finish the superclass definition. So under POJOs, create a base class. And here, I generally call it as base entity. So you know, anytime you read it, that it is going to be your common superclass. And which is the annotation to tell Hibernate is, or JPA, that it is not an entity, but it is a common superclass. Which is the annotation we saw, is the at entity or at map superclass. Which annotation are we going to use? Answer is map superclass. Okay, so we'll add that later, but let me add the common members. So all the entities will have which field? ID field. And I already explained since morning, don't create it as an int or long, I mean primitive types. The null checking becomes easier. So let me call this as ID. We'll apply the annotations in the next minute. So here, just generate the getters and the setters. If you don't add any constructor, everyone knows default constructor is added. So you might be wondering that only one field, why she's making us write another class. Wait means over time, we will add versioning information. It can grow in short. So here, now tell me, okay, let's start in a now proper manner. So which is the package from which we are going to get this annotations? Don't use Hibernate specific. Always go Java, I mean JPA. All from here. How to tell the container, the whole pop-up help. Container means JPA, sorry. How to tell Hibernate? Okay, this is to, I'll write it instead of just talking about it. Class level annotation to tell Hibernate. When I say Hibernate, it is JPA compliant. Currently, JPA implementer is Hibernate. It's a common superclass for all the entities, and do not generate any table for the same. I'll send you the comment in a minute. So it is a class level annotation to tell Hibernate or JPA that it's a common superclass for all the entities and don't generate any table for it. Yes. So that when I say you revise thoroughly, I expect you to read the comments and rethink about it in the lab. And everyone knows which are the common annotations we use for this. Compulsory annotation at ID. And since we want automatic generation, generated value with the strategy is equal to, what is it? The identity. So instead of adding how many lines, whatever, 8, 10 lines in all the entities, isn't it good to put it in a common superclass and extend from it? That's the inheritance in Hibernate view. Time permitting, I'll show you different inheritance strategies also. There are a lot of inheritance strategies. Wait. I mean, this supports, Hibernate supports. It's a huge framework. I'm giving you base entity. We'll just finish one little bit about course and student. Will stop. I know I'm also keeping track of time. Don't worry. People are dropping off. I don't have to really look at this. Have you completed this? I'm going to recap. I know I have taken this last part fast. I'll 100% recap this in the lab session whenever I join. Whenever you are finished with your first revision. Can I continue to student, guys? Because we'll at least achieve something. Student or course? Let's start with the course. Between course and a student, which is the parent side, which is the child side? Course is the parent side. Okay. So now open. That is why I shared sequence long back. And here, I'm writing in, you can write it anything from this. So I'm just copying it. You also copy it so that, we will have the same sequence, constructor sequence and all that. One more statement. Generally, people ask me this question. The property sequence, the way you declare the property has no bearing on the way Hibernate generates the database columns. You understood what I'm saying? The sequence of properties and sequence of columns, no relationship. It will be all generated by Hibernate internally. So now start answering quick questions. Will I declare the ID member here or I won't? ID required or not required here? 100% not. Why? Because that is why we wrote the common superclass. So we'll extend it from, or okay, why don't you finish that? So we'll start getting the idea. Sorry. Extends from which class we have called it as base entity. Everyone knows a lot. I mean, inheritance, we have spent so many days, inheritance, polymorphism and all that. So course is a base entity and something more. So now let us do it fast. So no ID required. Title of the course. Then you have a begin date, start date, when the course is launched. So you can use date, you can use local date. If you use date, add temporal annotation. So I'm giving you only the modern API. Start date. This part, I think you can manage it on your own. There is a end date of the course, and the fees you have paid, and the capacity. If you want to expand it more, make it more realistic and all, definitely go ahead and make it. But I'm just taking care of the relationships between entities in this session. Are we this? Basic things at least I should have. Then add a constructor. Wait a second. Yeah. And in the lab later, a course coordinator or, a manager can add a course, can launch a new course. So let's add the parameterized constructor also. So you tell me, if you as a course, as a center head, educational center head or college head, you can say whatever. If you are launching a new course, what all information you will take from user? Will you accept the ID from user? No, ID will be auto-generated, that already taken care. But I'll take title, begin date, end date, fees, capacity, in short, all. So generate parameterized constructor, which does not have the ID, we never need the ID, and rest of it, and add the full getters, setters. Select all. Always generate all getters and setters. Of course, if it is a transient, at transient you don't require, but otherwise you'll require. And for debugging, add this thing, toString. So here you have this, but which is the important property which is missing from debugging? ID, and you will definitely want to do that. So add the ID here. Can you access the private member of the superclass from a subclass? You can't. But can I access its getter? Of course, yes. So I hope you remember all these statements which we used to do in the early days of Java. You don't require super.getID here. Implicitly, it will call that. So just take a cursor here and you'll know it is calling base entity.getID. I hope you are understanding. Even if you are not completed timing, it is fine. Just understand it. So I'll be okay. Have I done this? I think we are good here. Now continue to student. And in student, now you will see purposefully this time I have taken topic tutorial also, which was done fully in JDBC. You are having a much bigger case study, but in and also in Hibernate. Okay, so here start. Student is also going to be, did I forget something? I have not added any annotations in the course yet. We will add the annotations, don't worry, and we'll stop. This is also going to be an entity extending from this, and add the data members. No ID, directly a student name, email. Okay, and I'll pause here. If you remember our tutorial Pojo, you topic and tutorial, same one-to-many, many-to-one. So there we had actually added a foreign key type directly with int course, I mean int topic ID. But that was JDBC, that was not object oriented. So right now I would say ignore this. We'll just reach there in couple of minutes. So this is all. You just add a name and email. It's going to grow, and then add a default constructor here. See guys, I keep talking to you, so please, if I make a dumb mistake, please tell me if I make this. And just add a all ask constructor, name and email, and generate same things, all getters and setters. Since I'm going with a particular speed, you can just sit back and understand the part. No issues. And here, generate the toString, name, email, and as before, I'll say the ID also, and just get it from the common superclass. So you may not have typed it. I'm sure. I mean, because I'm going a little in others. If you're typing it also fine, but understanding part has been always important. So is there anything you have not understood so far? We have not done anything which is very different. Yes or no? Are you understanding so far? Okay. So now, before I start applying the annotations, I have a core Java question for you. Basic Java question for you. If I write only this much, you saw what I've written. I have a course extending from base entity. I've got a student also extending on from a base entity. So can you tell me, at this point in time, is there any relationship between course and a student? Whatever we have written so far, is there any relationship between course and a student? You are absolutely correct. There is zero relationship. You understood me perfectly? Because course is a separate object, separate class. Student is a separate class. There is no linking yet. Everyone with me? Understanding wise? Okay. So now, what is it we are going to represent? From course being a parent, I should be able to access all my student details. Suppose you have opted for that course, there are 220 or whatever for you. From the course side, I should be able to access it, and vice versa. I'm showing you bidirectional. From student, I should be able to get it. So now think in an object-oriented manner. Forget databases. Forget Hibernate, everything for a second. And I had taken this example long back. It would be there in one, not this, I mean similar. So can you tell me, if you want to establish one-to-many, because this is a one-to-many this side, one-to-many relationship or association between course and student, do you need to add any additional state or additional property? I'm almost giving you the answer. So read my question carefully. I always write this because then, you know, when you read it, you know why we are doing it. If you want to establish, sorry, one-to-many, do you need to add any property or are we good here? Tell me, yes or no? Yes, it is required. And now people are learning. They're not just saying yes, they're giving me the answer also. So what type of a property I'll have to add is student type of a property, obviously. Okay. So if I say this, oh, correct or wrong? Right or wrong? Okay, I'll tell you it is wrong. Tell me what is wrong. Yes, you are absolutely right, but Kunal, but we are taking care of one side at least initially. So what is wrong in that? Or okay, scratch the question. If you write only this much, which type of relationship I will have between course and a student? Is it one-to-one or one-to-many then? No, is totally wrong. There's is a means inheritance. Come on, I'm adding a reference. How can you say is a one-to-one? I was not asking you. Of course, guys, please. When I say association, how can you take a time? How can you go off into is a and inheritance? This thing association means has a. It's not a composition, it's an aggregation, of course, but that is later. So here I was asking about cardinality. That is one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one. This will be one-to-one. I don't want one. I'm not launching a course, only special course, you know, a one-on-one course. I want multiple students. So anyone wants to correct this. Be fast. We are feeling hungry. I'm sure you are hungry. I'm at least hungry. I don't know about you. Tell me, what should be the correction quickly? What will be the data type? Array. Array is so fixed, guys. We spent a week or more than a week on collection. So I told you, collections are never going to leave you in Java. So yes. So the easiest collection is nothing but list of students. Okay. So here, this would be a one-on-one means one-to-one. So please, nobody wants to launch a course. Financially, it is not viable. So please choose your java.util.list. Are you understanding the thinking behind? See, I could have directly created, but then you miss all the steps in between. So when I say one course can have multiple students, array is possible, but array is so fixed in size. I don't want to have a fixed in size when I have got the entire collection framework with you. Hibernate supports everything, list, set, and map. Here you don't require it. Here all you require is a list. And another thing is, if you write only this list, okay, if I write only this much, okay, I don't like the word student because it gives you a wrong impression. Make it plural, students. So one what is it called? One course can have multiple students. So looking at time, I'm going little faster. Tell me, if I write only this much, what will be the value of the students here? Null or not null? Easy questions. Null. So if I want to initialize it, which is the best place to initialize the data members? Non-static data members. See, core Java is coming back all the time. Of course, constructor. But guys, here there are two constructors. Later, with my use case, I might require 10 more. So tell me, initializing it in 10 more, you 100% will forget this. So again, the founder of Hibernate, Gavin King, has written so many beautiful tips, so many things which you should follow. And one of his tips is Anytime you have a collection based property, initialize it right there. Because he says that you will definitely do it in one and forget it in something else. So don't leave it open to NPE, null pointer exception. Initialize it here. And now you'll realize why I spent so much time on something like array list and hash map. They are required all over the place. So now whether the moment this course object is created, what will be the value it will have? Students value, what it will be? I'll give you choices. Null, empty array list, populated array list, none of above. Yes, please. Of course, empty array list. You got me? And before you forget, the moment you add a property, Hibernate needs for persistence, getter and a setter. This is a very common mistake. I'm trying to guard you against the mistake. First thing you add a property, immediately generate getters and setters. Generate getters. I'm not added annotations. Looking at time is possible to add. All that will be done in the lab, if you allow me. So this is one side. Have I done this? Yes. So now tell me, if I write only this much, what will you call it? Unidirectional association, unidirectional relationship, or bidirectional? Uni or bi? Uni. Everyone agrees? From where to where I can navigate? I can navigate from course to student. But if you open student, can I really navigate back? Can I find out the course details from student? Not yet. So tell me, are we doing something like JDBC or are we doing full object-oriented ORM? Full object-oriented. So last question, and that's it. So can you tell me what should be the additional property props for mapping? So I'll give two options. Okay, forget options. Let me hear from your side. Yes. But that foreign key is a database. Grow up in the sense, from database, you are doing object-oriented thing. Yes, please. What is the object-oriented format of that? What is the object-oriented representation of it? Like how from course you could see the collection of students. From student, what is it you will be able to this? Course, exactly. Guys, don't think in database. Think object-oriented. So here, if you say foreign key, I'll accept your answer if we were working in JDBC. Guys, we are in object ORM, object relational mapper. So you will be adding private course, and I'm just giving, okay, you can have course or selected course or chosen course, anything. Give some variable name. You'll understand that. So quick answer, last one or two questions. Should I create it as list of courses or a single? I mean single or multiple, singular or plural? Singular. If you make it list of courses, which type of association will end up having? Many to many, exactly. Reaching, something is reaching. I'm so glad to see. Correct answers means reaching something. So we are not mapping it here. That we will map it for some other requirement. And before we forget, this can be null. This don't worry. We will add so many constraints, not null and all that later. So before we stop for lunch break and before you totally give up, just generate the setters and getters, and we'll resume all of this and we'll do so many more interesting things in the lab session after your revision is complete. So I'm saying, I am stopping here, don't worry, that this is all I'm saying. So please devote something like 2 hours. I'll not even disturb you in first 2 hours. You start with what? Now I have already restricted whatever time. So maybe 5-ish, I mean around 5. I would definitely need to continue with this so that tomorrow's day will be comfortable. So follow all these instructions. Whatever I mention it in today's sequence, do your complete revision, and then definitely will continue in a parallel manner in the labs. That will be all. See you in the labs.